So Jeremy, how does it feel to be back?
I mean, you remember like when the really important people from Saturday Night Live get to come back and host? It's a lot
Oh, so
like
you're
that.
it's a lot bad.
Yeah.
Well,
Like when Eddie Murphy gets to come back for the first time and come back in.
Okay, so we are now live, and I will open up the August 20th, 2020. Wow, that's a lot of 20s.
Yeah.
APM's board meeting tonight. We do not have any guest attendees for the day. Before I open up the meeting, I just want to say a few words, mostly of thanks at this point. And I've written them out, so I'll look like I'm reading. We're in uncharted waters as a board in a school. No one in recent memory has gone through a pandemic on this kind of scale with this kind of disruption to our schooling, work, and community lives. As my welcome today, I want to first stop and share my thanks and the board thanks for each and every staff member at APM for the time and service they have put into making the swift move to virtual education a reality. I can't help but recognize that every day for the past 4 years, I have dropped my children off at APM with very little worry that they would be safe, cared for, and supported in their growth and development. I am confident that the trust we place in these educators during normal times will hold through these more difficult times as well, for I know that they do their utmost to ensure that our children continue to be safe and cared for and supported. I also want to thank the parents and families of APM who have challenged the board and staff with their questions, with their concerns, who have sat in on board meetings and listened. These are difficult times for parents. We have all struggled with this so much already this year, and I know that the move to a virtual start places so much strain already on us in a stressful situation. Though I speak here only as a singular person, I cannot imagine that there is not a board member or teacher at APM, many of us parents of young children, who have not recognized that each decision made by any community right now affects countless individuals. Do know that the vote to move to virtual schooling was not taken lightly by any board member, and we share your concerns and questions. We ask for your continued trust in our amazing teachers and staff. And finally, I wish to thank the 2020-21 board members. This is an all volunteer position without any kind of external reward. Taking time to read emails, chair committees, and to show up to board meetings on Zoom publicly broadcast to YouTube is not for the faint of heart. I thank you for your commitment to this school. And I welcome all those who are joining us on YouTube Live or maybe watching this later on. And I will open up the meeting with the reading of the mission. Appleton Public Montessori seeks to nurture the full potential of every child through the presence of the Montessori philosophy in all learning environments, encouraging intrinsic motivation and instilling a love of learning now and for a lifetime. So I'm going to call and ask for a motion to approve today's agenda.
I'll make the motion.
Thank you, Derek. Thank you, Dan. It's been seconded. Any discussion? Hearing no discussion, all those in favor?
Aye.
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 I should have done a roll call vote.
Aye.
Aye.
We'll get them all.
Aye. Aye.
Any abstaining? Any, those not in favor? It was unanimous, right? Okay. Okay, so it's really exciting because this is the board meeting finally when we get to vote on the new 2021 board. So I'm going to call and ask for a motion to bring our new members of the 2020-21 board slate forward. And I'll read them out loud for us before we do the motion. Dan Skripczak for treasurer, Matt Lederer for secretary, Sarah Scanlon for resources chair and president-elect, Michelle DePauli for diversity chair, and Tiana Beebe for facilities co-chair, with an application submitted and approved by steering for the treasurer role of 21-22 school year. Is there a motion to bring this slate forward?
I'll make the motion.
Thank you, Derek. Is there a second? Thank you, Paige. The motion is open for discussion. Hearing no discussion, I will call the vote and I'll do a voice call because we're in Zoom. Stephanie, yes. Derek,
Yes.
Dan,
Yes.
Andrea,
Yes.
Paige,
Yes.
Kayla,
Yes.
Ashley,
Yes.
Nicole.
Yes.
All right. Yay. Congrats. Welcome on board, new members. We're excited to see you. And you now get to vote. All right. So our next item on the agenda is the administrator's report.
Thank you. And Stephanie, I just want to thank you for your words. We as a staff share the thanks to you and the board members. We really couldn't do this without you. It is a little bit like being on an island in a charter school, and your support is so helpful. And I'm so thankful for the willingness of the new members to come on board. We have a lot of fun, and your fresh ideas really inspire us. So thank you. Just a few things for me, mostly focused on that the district is also going virtual. So a couple things that are needed to say. We will probably use the same data protocol the district uses to look at going back to school. That being, we could not go back before they do. So unless they're using something that we don't agree with, which could be the case, if we do want to go back, we could only go back at the same time as they do. I just want to also highlight next week's and our first week of school information. August 27th was supposed to be our orientation meet and greet. Instead, there will be meet and greet videos pushed out to all families from the staff. And then September 1st, we will be sending out a sign up genius before September 1st, but on September 1st, we're asking that families come in and pick up materials. It will kind of be like the drop off situation where you'll get to wave to teachers, and you'll get materials that day. Also, something to note, September 2nd is the first Wednesday, so that's a staff PLC day, so it will be a little bit of a different schedule that day for students. And then September 3rd will be our full virtual schedule. I'd also just like to say that I encourage all parents to watch the Canvas training for observers. That is under the resources portion of our APM Learning from Home handbook. So that is all I have for today. Thank you. Stephanie, I think you're on mute.
Yep. Are there any questions for Cassie today? Okay. So we're going to go to steering committee updates now. I really wanted to take this time for the board members to introduce themselves to one another, since we have some new board members, and also to our school. So if you don't mind, if I call on you, would you just please share around like your name, your kids, how they attend APM, and your committee assignment. So I'm putting you all on the spot. So thank you for agreeing to do this. Kayla, would you like to start?
Sure. I'm Kayla Coombe. I have kids now at APM. One will be in Children's House this year, and then in E1 and one in E2. And I am the chair of E&E.
And Ashley?
Yes, hello. I'm Ashley Bruin, or as some of the students and stuff have called me, Miss Ashley. I am one of the Children's House teachers, and I also have one that will be in E1 this year in Mrs. Andrews' class, and then I have a student that will be in 4K this year too at APM. So
And Cassie, most folks know you, but you should say hi.
Hi, I'm Cassie Gilbo. I'm the principal at Appleton Public Montessori.
Matt?
Hello, I'm Matt Lederer. I am the secretary and had been on facilities previous to this. I have 2 kids there. I have one in E1 in Mrs. Fowler's class and one in E2 in Miss Walkenfuss's class.
Paige?
Hi, I'm Paige Kanoki. I'm the facilities chair. Been on there for, I don't know, 3 years now. I have a alumni child who's now going to be in 7th grade, but who went through kindergarten through 5th at A.P.M. And then I also have a daughter who is in E1 in Miss Fowler's class.
Andrea?
Hi, I'm Andrea Rankus. I am the chair for community committee and along with Leah. And I have 2 kids. One will be in E1 this year in 1st grade in Miss Feller's class. And I have a 4K student as well.
Thanks. Dan?
I'm Dan Skripczak. Similar to Paige, I've got an alumnus who's going into 8th grade now who went through A.P.M. And I also have a E1 is a Gamma in E1, Mrs. Fowler's room, that's Toby. So, and I have served on the board previously as a co-chair of diversity and am moving into the role of treasurer for 1 year.
Thank you, Dan. Nicole?
I'm Nicole Walkenfuss, and I am one of the E2 teachers.
Thank you. Daryl? Derek.
Derek Munch, Vice President, very memorable, obviously. I have an alumni student, I guess, as well, who's going into 8th grade, and then a 6th grader in E2 in Mrs. Walkenfuss's class.
There's just too many D's on my screen, sorry. Michelle?
Am I unmuted?
Yep.
Okay. I'm Michelle. I am the, I guess, chair of the diversity committee this year, and people probably know my name from multiple Did You Know, Diversity Did You Knows that I post on the A.P.M. Friends page, as well as the A.P.M. School Facebook page. And I have a daughter who will be a beta in Mrs. Andrews' class and a son who is just starting out in E2 this year.
Sarah? Oh, Sarah, you're muted.
Hi, sorry.
It's okay.
I'm Sarah. I have 2 children, one in Children's House in Miss Ashley's class and an E1 student. And I'm chair of resources and president-elect.
Tiana?
Hello, I'm Tiana. I have one child starting this year, his first year in E1 in Mrs. Fowler's, and I have one son in E2 with Mrs. Walkenfuss.
And Heather?
Hi, I have a 6th grader with Mrs. Strand. I'm co-chair for E&E and yearbook advisor.
Thank you. All right, so it's great to see all of you, and we'll get to know one another over Zoom this year a little bit. So I'll just continue with some updates. We would like each committee for the August 27th now meet and greet video share out. What I'm going to ask each committee to do is if you could do a short, like 30-second to 1-minute video introducing yourself and the work of the committee, and ask for volunteers. right? So allow the community to get to know you a little bit better and the work of the board, okay? And then just a reminder to each committee to move your email to your board Gmail account, and let me know if you need support with that. And then the other update is that the new communication portal was rolled out to families this week, and I'm seeing that folks are being able to join. There already have been some hiccups. I've found out that if you have an ASD email account, you can't join our Google Classroom. So you have to find another Gmail or some other email to use. So there'll be some hiccups along the way, but do let me know how that's working out. And hopefully all of you as board members are able to use that well. And I will continue to send links and information from that to Jenny Martzel for inclusion in the monthly newsletter, so that families have access to all of the information. All right, so we're going to turn to the treasurer's report. And this treasurer's report is coming from our past treasurer, who I will allow to introduce himself as well, before he gives his final and the closing books for the 2019-2020 school year at APM.
Thank you. So I'm Jeremy Van Grohl. I have 2 at APM. My oldest will be going into 5th grade, and my youngest is going into 3rd. I had the pleasure of being treasurer for 3 years, and glad to sew it up or wrap it up here with this last report. Okay, if I share my screen to bring up the report. Okay. The host has disabled participant screen sharing.
You're muted, Stephanie.
I have to go to the other computer, but you can talk, Jeremy.
Sure. So we've, over the last couple of years, tried to get a little better handle on finances and just make it a little more apparent on where the money's coming in and out, as well as I think this past year made some good strides in putting together a fairly robust budget that we've kept fairly good track against. So I just want to go through the year end, the fiscal year end ends in June, and give an update on what the results were through June of 2020. In doing this, and this is something that I will talk to you, Dan, and make you aware of this, I realized in closing this that we still have some money from the auction that was done that I never pulled out of our PayPal account that's sitting out there that obviously will not be in these numbers because they're just our bank accounts, but we can connect on that later. And I think it's about $1,800 that are still out there, so that's not reflected here right now. Let me give it another shot if you're back. Oh, there it
Try
is.
it. I made you a co-host.
Got it. I'm in.
Okay.
I think your titles should show up as Treasurer Emeritus.
Yeah, right. All right, let me blow this up a little bit here, but and I won't go through all the details, and this can be sent out to all the board members. We published this or gave it at each meeting last year, and I assume that would be getting distributed the same going forward. But in ending the year in 2020 here versus our budget, we had revenues of just over $10,000 or 10.5 against a budget of just over 13. So a little bit under that. If you put the $1,800 that I forgot to pull out of our PayPal account by the end of the year, we're coming at about just $1,000 under our budget on the revenue side. And then on the expense side, we had a budget of about $20,000, $21,000, came in at 12, so positive there on the expense side by 8,000. So overall, we're budgeted to lose just about $7,000, which we made a decision last year to go forward with the sandbox project, and that was a big portion of that. And it ended up being just under revenues over or expenses over revenues by $2,000. So still $5,000 overall favorable to the budget. And then as far as assets for the bank accounts for the organization, there's about almost $30,000 within the banking accounts with Wells Fargo. Our endowment fund has a balance just under $12,000, and the general fund with the AEF organization is at about $2,000 for a total of about $43,000 of cash assets for the organization as of the end of June. Happy to answer any other questions you have.
Are there questions for Jeremy? Okay, thank you. You don't have to share your screen anymore. We really appreciate it. And thank you so much for 3 years of service and really keeping us on track and on budget. So where's my screen like reactions? Yay. No, really, seriously. Thank you.
Thank you.
And I'm sure that Dan will be calling you in the near future. All right.
That's the worst part for Jeremy.
And then me, like talking to both Dan and Jeremy once I take over next year.
It's a 3-part treasurer. Okay, so for our next part of the agenda, I'm going to ask the board to move to a closed session. Due to the fact that because of the pandemic, we were not able to have our strategic planning retreat. And that is a time in which we talk openly about the strategic plan and think about, we do a lot of brainstorming and thinking about how to move forward as a committee. And so it's my advice and the advice of steering that we move this to a closed session at this point. That does require a board vote. And all of you are now, well, I'll have to add in the voting members. So do I have a motion to bring that forward?
I will motion.
Thank you, Derek. Do I have a second?
I will second.
We have multiple seconds. The motion is open for discussion. Are there any questions or, okay. Hearing no discussion, I'll open it for the vote. Stephanie, yes. Derek?
Yes.
Dan?
Yes.
Matt?
Yes.
Andrea?
Yes.
Paige?
Yes.
Kayla?
Yes.
Ashley?
Yes.
Nicole?
Yes.
Sarah?
Yes.
And Michelle?
Yes.
Okay, so give me about 20 seconds while I go turn us off into a closed session. Normally this would just be shutting a door.